Okay, ladies, welcome. We are going to tonight talk about the real reason diets don't work after 50. And if you've been doing the work, it's time for a method that finally works for you. Okay, so here we go. As long as this, sorry about that, guys. Okay. Hi, I'm Deana. If we've not met, we'll just get this out of the way. I'm a fat loss expert for women over 50, and I'm actually certified in menopause coaching, nutrition coaching. I'm certified personal trainer, behavior change coach, and I'm currently getting my health mindset coaching certificate. So I don't tell you that to impress you, but I impress upon you that when I am coming to you and sharing information, it's because I bring this value to you. I want to kind of take everything that's out there and bring it to you as an expert so that you can trust what I'm saying and trust that I've done the work and hopefully make it relatable and something that you can put into action. It's basically demystifying this stage and age of time that we're in as women over 50, dealing with perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, how the body shifts and changes, not just from that, oh, I have hot flashes and a low libido and everything's dry, to like what's really taking place in our body. How is it impacting our life? How's that impacting our relationships? How's that impacting our future? So we're going to dive into that today. All right. So I am the founder of DB Coaching for Women. I and a few of my coaches, we are a small boutique coaching firm, and we work to help women reclaim their bodies, health, and vitality so you guys can embrace this stage of life with confidence and control. All righty. Okay. First of all, we are going to use some AI images here. So I actually had a little fun playing with these. And so it'll be, take a look at them as we go through. I think that's kind of fun. So first message to you ladies is I want you guys to understand that you're not failing. It's really the model by which we were raised and taught for under 50 years of how to lose weight, how to maintain a healthy weight and or lose fat. Most of the time, all we're talking about is losing weight. So if you've been following all the rules, but the results, they've stopped showing up, I want to say something that I wish more experts would say out loud is that you're not failing, the model is. Okay, the old model is this: eat less, move more, push harder, sweat more. I hear that all the time. And this is something that was perpetuated when we were younger, and it is still taught out there. Just take any diet that's been Jenny Craig, MetaFast, Slim Fast, and Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers. All of those are a version of the exact same model. It is basically eat less, move more, and you will lose weight. Not fat. We won't increase body. We won't increase muscle on our body. We won't change our body composition, but you can lose weight when you're under 30. But now, ladies, your physiology is different. Your hormones have shifted, and the rules were written for a different body than the one you're in now. And so what I want to stress is it doesn't mean you're out of options. It just means it's time for a new strategy. And it really needs to be one that's designed for us as women in this stage of life that we are today. I do not understand why that doesn't want to work. Okay. First of all, I want to introduce you to Marjorie. Marjorie is what I love. She's one of the women who has been in our coaching program. She started in, I think she did a couple challenges, and then she joined the 13-week coaching program. And she still is actually in part of what we call our Evolve program as she continues to change her body composition. But I love to refer to Marjorie as the incredible shrinking woman because you can actually see what took place in her body. Even if I don't tell you how much weight she lost, you can just see it. You can see it in her face. You can see it in her midsection, her hips, even her arms. So When you look at somebody like Marjorie, Marjorie is a traveling veterinarian. She has, when she's gone, she's on the road and she's working long hours and in situations that she's not always sure of what that's going to be like. So that can be really stressful. She's 57 years old and she has consistently maintained activity through our whole life. So she got frustrated when all of a sudden she hit, kind of those menopausal years and she had unexpected gain. In fact, she told me even while she was dieting, she had gained 18 pounds in 2 years, despite walking, eating healthy, and doing all the things right that she knew to do. But what we uncovered was the real blockers, things like stress levels, low protein, and then she did not incorporate any type of strength training. Walking was how she moved. She was frustrated, exhausted, and confused. And ladies, it's because in her mind she was doing all the things that people tell you to do. And what we discovered when we started working together is that one, she was under eating protein and the right type of protein. She wasn't strength training. Her belief was that she didn't want to get bulky. She's like, I'm already big. I don't want to get bigger. And her stress load was high. You know, when we have a high stress load, it keeps us in fat storage mode. And so for Marjorie, we just made a few shifts. We started her on protein forward meals and we got her to start doing 3 days a week, simple strength training. It's important to start where you start. I talk about lifting heavy often, and you ladies need to hear me when I say that we need to start lifting heavier. But if you're not strength training yet, that's not where you start. We need to make sure that you get the moves down, that you understand the function, that you feel confident doing the move, because once you do that, then we can progress. So it's about increasing your mobility and your confidence. And then once we do that, we can build. But here's what I loved about Marjorie is that 10 weeks later, she was down 18 pounds and 2 pant sizes. But even more importantly, she had her confidence and energy back. Okay, can you guys hear me? Something's goofy. So the game has changed. So nobody told you hormonal mismatch, estrogen and cortisol shifts change how our body stores fat. So the science behind where we're at in our life right now is that we have lost estrogen, progesterone, other hormones at the same time. But when we do that, cortisol shifts. So we used to have a protection. So estrogen is a protectant in the body. You have estrogen receptors everywhere in the body. And what we know is that it provided a protection against rising when our stress would increase, cortisol would go up. When we had our bodies in a mode where we could control it with estrogen would protect us. We get a high stress, it drop it down. What we don't have is that umbrella of estrogen anymore. There is no ceiling. So cortisol can rise pretty quickly. And when cortisol is elevated, chronic cortisol elevated for long periods of time, that will cause our bodies to shift and store fat. The other thing that's changed is we're basically are in metabolic mute mode. Dieting has slowed your metabolism. We're reducing our muscle over time as we're aging. And many of us have lived in these chronic low calorie states, or you've been under eating for so long that you've dialed down your metabolism so that it matches the energy level. And I mean energy in the terms of food and nutrition. Nutrition that gives your body, that's a source of energy. So when we talk about that shift in energy, know that I'm not talking about moving and lifting weights and running. I'm talking about how food gives your body, it is an energy source. And so when we dial that down, you've told your body, hey, I'm not getting enough fuel, so I need to dial down my systems to match the level of energy you're giving me. And so what happens over time is that your body at one time should normally be at maintenance of about 2,000 calories. Now, how many of you just about choked when I said that? How many of you are right now eating 2,000 calories? Drop me a comment in the chat. One, if you're eating 2,000 calories, and just give me a no way if the answer is no way. Most of us, if we did our body composition, we would be at a maintenance of somewhere around 2,000. But ladies, we have been told that we have to eat in a deficit, we have to reduce our calories. So many of us are living and substantiating an energy level of about 1,300 calories on average. And I cannot see the chat, so I can't see what you guys are saying. Oops, sorry about that. The third thing that's happened, nobody's talking about, is behavioral backlash. Basically, ladies, it's that all or nothing mindset that we carry. A lot of plans out there are like, okay, 75 hard, how about that one? Or 21-day fix. These are basically short runs of all or nothing. You have to change how you eat, you have to change how you exercise, or you don't exercise. You have to change exactly how much and when and how often you eat in such a tight box that if you go off plan at all, that will create stress and obviously creates burnout because it will kick you out. Okay, I love you guys. No way. Thanks, everybody. I can see the chat now. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on. And so I want you to understand we've got hormonal shifts going on. Things don't match up anymore. We don't have the estrogen receptors are waiting to be plugged with estrogen in our body, and they're all over in our systems. And the estrogen is severely depleted, if not there at all. Okay. We have a metabolic mute mode. We basically turned your metabolism down, dialed it way down or off in many cases. And then there's that behavioral backlash. We in our mindset think that we have to be all or nothing. We think that we have to just have more discipline and more motivation. And oftentimes we'll live on coffee all morning and then just not start eating until later and call it intermittent fasting. Okay, so what's really happening inside this post 50 body? So this is going to be some information that I'm going to share that's based on recent studies, and it does confirm that traditional diets fail us women over 50 for physiological reasons, and it's not willpower and it's not motivation. Okay, here we go. Hormonal changes. Estrogen declines after fat storage and alters your fat storage pattern. So this is how, when you didn't have the belly fat before, and then all of a sudden now you got a belly, even if you don't gain weight any other place, now you have a belly. So this makes those traditional ways that used to work out, they're counter or exercise and reduce weight counterproductive. Muscle loss. Ladies, if you've heard me for 1 day or 100 or 1,000 days, muscle, 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 we are losing it. Oftentimes, I think as a society, we stand in one position and we just see ourselves as we are today, and we don't see that our bodies are aging. And part of aging, the natural aging process, is muscle loss. And so we are not destined to be little old ladies who are weak. The problem is we just in our mindset think that nothing's changing because we can't see it or feel it. But we know we have a huge drop in muscle as early as starting in our mid 30s. So research does show muscle mass decreases up to 8% per decade. So let's round the number up to 10%. From between your 40s and 60s, you have a 20%, almost 20% decline in lean muscle mass. So that means you keep on that trend, ladies, you will not be able to get up off the toilet on your own when you are in your 80s. You will not have the muscle in your arms, and you definitely won't have it in your legs. And the other thing, ladies, that when we lose this muscle, it dramatically changes our metabolism. So not only has our chronic dieting and low calorie state that we've been living in for so long, now we also got muscle loss. That's affecting the metabolism. So then we look at the metabolic rate. Slower metabolism means fewer calories get burned at rest. There's this thing called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which means we burn calories just doing daily things like breathing and standing and walking and brushing our teeth and just everything that's not exercise. But what we notice also is that that slower metabolism causes us to slow down in those areas as well. We sit more, we're more sedentary. So we have to start looking at dietary adjustments for women over 50. It's one of the reasons I scream more protein, more protein, more protein, because our bodies need it. And then, of course, we have the stress response, changing cortisol patterns, how those affect um, changing cortisol patterns affect how your body stores and where it stores it. And it's going to go right to the midsection. For some women, their chest gets bigger and they kind of get that back bra fat, or maybe the fat underneath the front of the arms, just by the bra straps. You know what I'm talking about? And this is all affecting estrogen and cortisol, impacting that. Okay, here's what the research says. So you can see muscle mass decline with age. It is just part of the process of aging. The good news is, ladies, it doesn't have to be so dramatic, but if you don't do anything, you will become a statistic. You'll start with your balance will be off. You won't have that quick reflex. All of a sudden, you can't walk as far. You get more tired. Walking up and down stairs fatigues you. And then all of a sudden, you need a cane for assistance. And then it goes to a walker. Then it goes to a wheelchair. And then if you go to assisted living, you'll be sitting in that walker or a bed for the rest of your life. I hate to present that dire picture, but I watched it happen to my mom, and I've seen it happen to other women a generation ahead of us. So ladies, to be honest, we need to just wake up. We've got this generation ahead of us to look at. And many women, you guys, I want you to understand that you are at a crossroads in your life right now. What you do starting today will affect that future person. You have an opportunity, but if you don't start to change things, you get into your 70s, we are going to start to see some major decline. So muscle decline, 8% loss after 40 without strength training. Estrogen drop, harder fat loss, especially around the belly. Research tells us the impact of stress. We're going to talk about that. Elevated cortisol blocks fat burning, disrupts your sleep, and a whole host of other things. Even affects the health of our gut microbiome, which also feeds the health of our brain. And so stress can lead to things like mood disorders, sleep disruption. Your body doesn't, your systems don't work well if you don't control stress. Excuse me. And then calorie cutting. Research says that skipping meals makes everything worse. If I had a highlighter, I would highlight this one for you ladies. Calorie cutting just means you're depleting your body of the nutrients that it needs. All right, so tonight I want to cover what I call the menopause reset method. This is basically, these are the pillars of our program. It's the pillars of my approach and how women over 50, we can simplify this. There is a lot going on in our bodies, and we need to recognize and honor that body. And the last thing we need to do is keep doing the old ways that don't match. My analogy for you ladies is to think of your body, how dramatically it has changed. So when we hadn't bled yet, we hadn't had our first period. And if you haven't gone through puberty yet, boys and girls look about the same. Then all of a sudden we enter this period of our life hormones take over. We have the flood of estrogen and progesterone and all these other hormones that are coming into the body and maturing. And so we start to bleed. We start to get a butt and we get boobs. Our shape changes. We may get acne, we may get headaches, we may get cramps, we get taller and wider and our shape changes. Very dramatic. So if we're looking at a bell curve, we've gone from a little girl, now we're getting up to the swing top, rising to the top of the curve because we're going through. So we hit puberty and we start bleeding, and then we get up there to the top around our 30s. And now we're going to come around the decline side. And so everything under that bell curve between when you start bleeding and when you get into perimenopause, shifts are not that dramatic in your hormones unless you get pregnant. Okay, then you have that shift. But for most women, that is a normal progression. And then what happens when we hit perimenopause and menopause, another shift comes and the hormones are pulled away. And just like we were very different from before bleeding and then having puberty, now we're going to stop, hormones shut off, and now our body has shifted. And if you can think about how different a little girl is from before she has her period to after, that's exactly what's happening on the other side. So our body is going to go through a major shift physiologically, okay? You can't just pretend this doesn't happen, because it happens. So if you're a woman and you had periods and you've got, you went through that whole physiological change, you are now sitting, most of us, on the other side, somewhere around menopause. Some have had menopause and we are post-menopause, but your body is dramatically different. Okay, so keep that in mind. So when we talk about this reset method, that is how I approach. How did the body change? What does she need differently? Because how we care for this body now is going to be very different than how we cared for our bodies in our 30s. I don't know about you, but raise your hand or drop a 1 in the chat if you were somebody that in your 30s, you could run circles around the 50-year-old you are now. Like, you could just burn the candle at both ends. You could binge all weekend and then just do, go and do 2 days of cardio for 3 days and be back to where you were. You didn't get fatigue like you get now. Just everything was easier. Oftentimes I say, wouldn't it be great to be back in that body that I was in when I thought I was fat in my 30s? She didn't know much. But the reality is, that's most of us. Most of us can relate to that, is that our bodies have shifted in a way, but it doesn't need to be a negative thing. I think that there's a lot of empowering things about being at this stage of life. So we're going to get into the menopause reset method. So first of all, we're going to talk about fueling over starving. Meals regulate hormones, not restricting calories. Number 2, strength over sweat. More lifting, less cardio. I don't care how much you sweat, it does not equal fat loss. It doesn't. Number 3, regulation over reaction. Sleep, hydration, and recovery. Those are the things that are the fat loss multipliers. And rhythm over rules. Simple, doable routines over rigid, strict plans. And then ownership over overhaul. And that's basically having customization, just not following quick fixes, fast diets, even pills and shakes and shots. So it's giving you back the ownership. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about these. Let's see. We'll get moving. Nope. Okay. I built this program for body, brain, and the life of a woman over 50. So most programs were designed for really 25-year-olds. Again, most of them were written by companies or younger people. Some have just regurgitated or reframed something that was popular back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And oftentimes there are programs right now that I see being written out there that they say they're for menopausal women, but when I look at them, there is no component that takes into account how hormonally our bodies have changed and how she needs a different approach. But for this one, I designed it to help you guys so that you can feel strong and lean and be energized. I don't want you obsessing or overhauling your life because that's not going to work. All right, so let's go through the pillars if you'll allow me to. So fuel over starve. So let's start with one of the biggest mindset shifts. I need you ladies to stop starving and start fueling, because what most women still do wrong is you guys are drastically under eating, cutting calories, you guys are skipping meals, and you think you have to eliminate carbs and eliminate fat, and you think that it's the fastest way to shrink. But under eating actually signals to your body, hey, lady, hold on to that fat. We're going to need it because we're not sure when and how much she's going to give us energy. And the bottom line is it increases cortisol and it slows your metabolism, especially when you pair that with stress and poor sleep. So what does work? Prioritizing lean protein. Ladies, if you're not eating 30 grams of high quality protein, you need to per meal, okay? I would even in the coaching program, we work to customize that number for each client, and it's usually more than that. But this is a good place to start. If you're, I was with someone the other day and she was eating 48 grams of protein when we calculated it a day. She is severely malnourished in protein. And protein feeds your muscle. And again, preserving muscle is the name of the game for many reasons. Under eating increases your cortisol, and that leads to more stored fat, where I said, hello, belly fat. That's where it comes from, okay? So what does work, including anti-inflammatory fats and complex carbs, and making sure you guys are eating enough to fuel your day, those workouts, and to balance your hormones. Yes, we still have, even though we've lost a lot of the estrogen and progesterone and testosterone, we still have other hormones that we need to balance. One of the big things that is getting a lot of attention right now is the GLP-1s, and GLP-1s work by manipulating leptin and the ghrelin. Those are your hunger hormones. So we can do that naturally. It's just most don't want to do the work that it takes to get your body to that state, but we can do it. But what I want you guys to know is that when we do this, your energy goes up, your cravings go down, and then fat loss becomes easier. It doesn't get harder. Okay, so let's go to number 2. All right, pillar number 2. All right, ladies, we're not chasing sweat, we're building strength. Most women think that the key to burning more calories is doing more cardio. You jump on cardio machines, you take boot camp classes, or you try to outwalk your weight gain. Walking is great, but if it's 5 levels to increase fat loss, it's level 1. Okay, it's good to get moving. Sometimes we have physical limitations that make it so we can't do anything more than walking. So something is better than nothing, but it is just the very beginning. And if you want to impact a change in your body composition, less weight, less fat, more bone, more muscle structure, you have got to do more than walk. Okay, so muscle is metabolism. After menopause, muscle loss accelerates. Okay, strength training at the proper intensity positively changes your body all day. If you guys don't know this, cardio, walking, things like that, you'll burn the calories while you're moving, but as soon as you stop, the calorie burn stops. The beautiful thing about strength training is we are impacting muscles, we are changing them. So just because we stop lifting, our muscles continue to tear apart. That's what we're doing inside the strength training, is we're getting into that muscle and we're pulling those muscle fibers apart. And then we move and the body goes into rest and repair. And you're seeing those muscles that what happens is they become inflamed. The body naturally comes into play and says, we got to fix this. So it goes to work on those muscle fibers to bring them back together. It's why you build muscle, is because those muscle fibers get knitted back together tighter and stronger. And so every time you tear, they repair. And so when you do that, you actually need to burn calories to do that. So your metabolism kicks up. So you can have an afterburn of calories up to 36 hours, which I think is amazing. And then a minimum effective dose for strength training, I recommend 3 sessions a week to build and maintain muscle. Okay. Here's the truth, ladies. Muscle is what drives your metabolism. Cardio without strength leads to muscle loss. There is a place for yoga. There is a place for bar. There's a place for doing Pilates, but it will not impact muscle and it will not impact bone density the way strength training will. So instead of sweating for the sake of it, I want you guys to focus on progressive strength training. So 2 days is better than none. 3 days is great. And you guys, you don't have to be hardcore. I don't want you to feel like you're wrecked. One of the clients we worked with in the coaching program, I actually had her stop exercising so much because she was exhausted after every workout. And so when we changed her protocol for working out and what she did, one of her comments was, I don't feel wrecked the next day. And so that's what your hormones tell you. That's what your body's telling you. We just can't take that chronic. Exercise is stress. It's a great induced stress, but if you do it too long and you do the wrong kind, at our age, it is going to kick you in the butt. It is not going to help you move forward. So the reality, ladies, we need to stimulate muscles consistently and your metabolism will follow. So regulation over reaction. All right. This is one of those areas where most programs overlook it. And I want you to think about, how often do we power through our stressful days? We've been taught push harder, sleep less, you can do everything, handle everything, take care of everything. You know, this age that we're in, we have learned how to put everybody else's needs ahead of ours. So we've stopped listening to our bodies. And again, remember, we're not fueling properly. Most of us are not hydrating properly. And what happens is we get into this high stress reactive mode. I want to help you have regulation. I want to put you back in the driver's seat. So the science is clear, ladies. High cortisol equals more belly fat and lower recovery. Did you know that one bad night of sleep reduces insulin sensitivity by 30%? If you're not familiar with insulin sensitivity is what manages your blood sugar. Also regulates fat storage. So chronic stress keeps your body stuck in what I'm going to call survival mode. It's where fat loss is the least of its priorities. I always tell women is like, your body is intelligently designed. It knows what to do. Its core function is to preserve life. So you have all these different systems and they take nutrition, they take hydration, they take exercise, they take all this into account and it figures out, what do I do with it? And how do I use it most effectively? And it's going to prioritize life preserving over other things. So things like managing stress. Yeah, that's going to be low down there. So do you find that there's more anxiety? Do you find that little things that shouldn't stress you out, now they stress you out? You can thank that to the change of what's going on. Okay. So instead of ignoring this, what we do in the menopause method reset is we have resets of the simple nervous system. We have better wind down routines, and I always prioritize recovery as much as I prioritize action, because regulation is a fat loss strategy. It's not a wellness add-on. I'm going to have you guys drop me 1, if sleep is an issue for you, 2, if stress is an issue for you, 3, if hydration is an issue for you, and 4, if you feel, we'll call recovery more in the terms of kind of that how do I want to call a time that? Like, um, just kind of your overall feeling of wellness right now. Is that a problem? Like, you don't sleep well, you can't think, yeah, you feel sluggish, your digestive system's a wreck, you're not sleeping well, all those kind of things. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. I want to see where you guys fall. Thank you, thank you. All right, anybody else? Thank you guys, I appreciate that. Sometimes 1, yeah. I think, Melanie, I saw the sometimes 1. Sleep quality, I think sometimes sleep is hormonal driven, ladies, but there's 2 other factors that impact sleep that if you're not aware of. And one is what your nutrition looks like. One of the big things that I see with women in our coaching program, when we change the nutrition and what and how much and how often they're getting it, sleep improves, quality of sleep. Yeah, they might still wake up, but they can go back to sleep. They're not waking up at 1 and 3 saying, is it time to get up now? And then going back to sleep and then not being able, like you feel like you just went to bed. The other thing is that oftentimes I think we're not moving our bodies enough all day during the day. We are mentally working, but our body's not working. So oftentimes we go to sleep tired mentally, but we are not tired out in our bodies. So it doesn't need as much rest as we want to give it. So those weren't even in the slides. I wanted to give those to you. All right. So we're going to get rid of some things here. All right. Rhythm over rules. What do I mean by this? Ladies, this one is huge because most women over 50 are stuck in what I call perfection prison. They follow a strict plan, they mess up once, and they say, I blew it. Then comes the guilt, the shame. I always call it the bat. And that I'll start again Monday, or I'll start next week, or why bother, or I'll wait till summer, or I'll wait till after this or after that. But here's the thing, real life will always interrupt that plan. How many of you used to think, oh, summer would be a great time because I'll be, well, all the great vegetables, and then we have all the farmers markets, and I'll be outside, it'll be more active, we have long days, right? Or how many of you think winter is an easier time? Give me 1 if you think summer is an easier time to follow a plan, be on a diet. Give me a 2 if you think winter is easier. I know what I think. I know what I say, right? Say and actually put into play, I think is very different for most of us. But the reality is, you guys, there's no perfect time. It's just what we tell ourselves, right? We think that it'll be, oh, after the holidays. That's why, January 1st is the most. January and September. Did you know that? Those are the highest. I'm going to get on a diet. People join a gym, people buy equipment, people go on, different plans. Those are the times. And the reality is that there's nothing magical about it. There's nothing magical about starting on a Monday versus starting on a Wednesday. But this is that rhythm, this is the rule, sorry, that we make up in our mind about when is a good time to start and stop. The reality is that life is going to happen. And one thing that I'm a big believer on is teaching you and women in our coaching program that you have to be able to follow something that is so much a part of your behavior so that regardless of what's going on externally, you can make adjustments and still have a great time. You don't have to be that girl who's always on that diet sitting in the corner of the room or saying no to social events because you just know that that's going to be a place that you're going to go off the rails. It doesn't have to be like that, ladies, but we live in this mindset of all or nothing. Rhythms over rules help you create predictable rhythms, not perfect routines. Perfect routines will fail, not if, but when. And then we need to build flexible structure. Flexible structure will make sure that you can have long-term success, regardless of the external factors that are going on. So we focus on rhythms, daily habits that are flexible, not rigid, sustainable routines that adapt to real life. And again, ladies, you don't need to be perfect. Most of the time, if you are following a really good plan that makes you feel good, your body feels good, and you can move and fits in, you can have a social life, you can do that 80% of the time. Then when 20% of the time life's a little different, bad, better, best. Show up in a better, sometimes it's hot dogs at the ballpark and you didn't plan well. It's not going to make you gain 5 pounds the next day. But we tend to think that, oh, I went off plan. I had a beer and a hot dog. I'm going to start over on Monday. So then that's Friday night, Saturday and Sunday are a free for all. And then now any weight you lost the past 2 weeks has gained it back, because that's what happens in menopause. That's what happens is like, it takes forever to lose a pound and it takes 1 day to gain it back. How many of you can relate to that? Drop me a yes. Drop me a yes in the chat if that's you. All right, so ladies, when we stop doing this, we can start focusing on what is a long-term strategy, because that is exactly what you need. All right, ownership over overhaul. What do I mean by that? If you've ever bought a meal plan, downloaded a tracker, followed a challenge perfectly, and you still ended up back at square one, this is why. Most of the time, it wasn't built for you, because real transformations happen when you stop outsourcing your body and you start understanding it. And I hope that's why you're here. Ownership is about listening to your hunger cues, making informed choices, being intentional with your choices, adjusting your approach based on your results, not someone else's expectations. So personalization, no one size program fits all in the menopause metabolism reset. You don't need to be perfect. Change works when it can fit in your life. Most programs out there require you to dramatically change your life. How many of you love making 2 different meals at dinner time because you're eating this way and the family's eating that way? I don't know about you, but that did not fly for very long in my house. And I didn't need to make food. I didn't need to make diet food and then force my family to eat it. You can eat really healthy, high quality nutrition that everybody should be eating that tastes great. And you don't need to be a 5-star chef to learn how to cook it, right? It can be very, very simple, high quality nutrition. Oops. It isn't about making it. Oh, we got a little feedback. Susan, can you check the mutes for people? Thank you. Self-trust, co-creating your plan for lasting results. You ladies, you should have a say in what your plan looks like. It should fit you, not you fitting into someone else's plan. All right, so I wanted to highlight Marjorie. So we were on a call last night in one of our coaching calls, and Marjorie dropped a nice little bomb and said that she had hit her first weight loss goal. Marjorie's been in the program. She did the 13-week program and then followed through. I think she might be in her 3rd month. She has lost 25 pounds, and that was her first goal. And last night she said, I joined this program to prove Deana wrong, which I was like, what? I did not know that. And she said, yeah, she said, I was going to join and I was going to do what you told me to do. And because I knew it wasn't going to work. And then I could say, see, I tried, it didn't work. But that's not what happened. She actually proved herself wrong. So she had been struggling with same thing, ladies. Many of us have done the traditional diets. We've done them all, right? Has anybody, okay, I want you guys to drop in the chat the most ridiculous diet you ever did. I did the grapefruit diet back in 1984. My uncle was doing it, so I joined it. It was terrible. Like I think, yeah, you lost weight because you probably ate 400 calories a day. So drop me. What was the most? I want to see these because this is fun. This is fun. I've done other stupid diets, but oh, cabbage soup. Yeah, I saw. Oh, somebody. Kelly, you did the grapefruit diet with me. Cabbage diet, cabbage diet. Isogenics. Grapefruit. Yep. Isn't that funny? And I saw, I don't know about you guys, but my uncle had cut it out of a newspaper. I remember in my mind's eye, I can see that. All right, so here's the thing. That was Margie. And she can even remember in elementary school someone telling her that she was just a really big girl. So she'd done everything, the calorie counting, keto, intermittent fasting. And yes, ladies, I'll tell you right now, I am not a fan of intermittent fasting for menopausal women. It's a whole different conversation, but just trust me when I say it is the last thing that your body needs right now. And for her, nothing had worked. And she actually felt like her metabolism was broken after menopause. But you can see she lost 25 pounds. You can, this is not even her after picture like of yesterday. Like I told her she's going to have to take some. But after a lifetime of weight struggles, emotionally eating, and she was doing everything right, you guys, it was not working. Okay, don't write on the screen if you can help it. So zero sugar, she was dealing with cravings of sugar too. And so those went away when we put her on a program that just worked for her. Like she's not on a diet, ladies. She's following lifestyle. She's following the pillars that I just talked about. And I love that she said the biggest change for her wasn't even the weight loss. It's because she finally felt in control of her health again. And, she didn't think that that was possible at her age. How many of you think that you're too old? How many of you think that your metabolism is too broken? How many of you think that, oh, I should have done something about it a long time ago, so why bother now? I'm glad you're here because that is exactly the opposite of what you should be thinking. And I want to prove it to you. Okay. So if you're someone who said, I've done every diet, every challenge, why would this be different? Ladies, if you follow a program that is life compatible, that's not a one size fits all, that has a strategy that shifts as your body does. Because ladies, we are in bodies that are we're not done changing yet. We aren't. It depends on where you are inside that in or outside of that bell curve I talked about and where you are. But ladies, our average lifespan is going to be somewhere in the 80s. So if you're in your 50s, you have 30 years. I want you to think about how are you going to work with this body? You're not always going to be needing weight loss mode. You're going to get to a point where that is the second or third issue because now you got bone degeneration, you got muscle loss, we've got brain fog that's leading to heart and health issues. So I want you to know that we're at this crossroads. So you need to have a plan that is adaptable as you move through those stages. Because once you learn how to feed and fuel this body, it becomes easy. You know when you are eating well and you know when you're not. You know when you're moving your body and you know when you're not because your body is so in tune and talks to you. You need to have something age appropriate, making sure it's designed specifically for your current body. And like I said, adaptable as she changes. The other thing I want to tell you here, ladies, is that I'm so passionate about this because I am 62 years old. I have walked this road before you, depending on where you are, unless you're older. But I understand changes in the body. I never had 20 pounds to lose, but I will tell you, it's just as frustrating if you have 10 pounds to lose, or if you're in a small frame and you put on 10 pounds and it's all in your belly, it's frustrating. So it's even harder to lose that weight. So I want you to understand that I wrote this program and I believe in it wholeheartedly because I've seen the thousands of lives that it's changed. And I've made it comprehensive. We go beyond nutrition and fitness and we uncover and change behavioral issues, because ladies, weight loss happens in the mind and then the kitchen and then the gym. If we do not fix your identity issues, what you believe, who you believe you are, and what you believe you're capable of, this will be a diet roller coaster that you will never be able to get off, because our psyche will always bring us back to the point of who we believe we are. It will match your effort to your identity, even when we've got the hormone part figured out. The truth is, even with the right plan, most women get stuck. You guys second guess yourself. You fall back into that all or nothing thinking. And if you don't have someone helping you do course correction, then when life happens, not if, but when life happens, it gets stressful. If you don't have aging parents yet, hang on for that ride. Emotional and physical and stressful. You still need to take care of yourself regardless of what life throws at you. So what I want you guys to know is, and I want to be real with you right now, you don't need another plan that has you try harder. You guys just need you need a method that's going to work with the biology of your body. So that's where I come in. It's about strategy and support, not just more information. So if you're done struggling, remember, you guys, I provide a lot of recipes and meal plans and resources, but those are only going to get you guys so far. You don't need more recipes or exercise plans. Really, ladies, you need a framework that adapts with your life and doesn't demand perfection. Let's talk about the real struggle. I'm going to put this against old approach to what I call the menopause reset method. Old approach, you want recipes and you want fitness. Menopause says we need to work on my mindset, identity to create confidence. Old plan says rigid plan, structured, follow this exactly. I'm going to say, no, we need to be adaptive to real life. Perfection focus, and that is not what we do. That's definitely not what we do in our program. Ladies, I want your new mantra is progress over perfection. Progress over perfection. Somebody type that in the chat for me. Seriously, ladies, this is so important. Progress over perfection will keep you out of the all or nothing weeds. And when we have progress, and when we can recognize that there's progress, then we can see ourselves moving forward instead of just all the wrong things that we did or the things that we're not doing. Because that's what we do. We're great at pointing out our faults and reminding ourselves of it, and we're terrible at celebrating the strengths and the movement. And then the old approach is what to follow. Tell me what to follow. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to eat. Tell me how to move. That, ladies, is the old approach. And there's a lot of plans out there that will tell you just what to do. But I want to teach you how to think. I want you to be able to go to a restaurant and not be freaked out and thinking that you're just going to have to eat how you normally would eat. Because I'm going to tell you, most restaurants today, they are used to accommodating people with sensitivities and allergies and pickiness. And sometimes, ladies, it's important. I want you to step into your big girl panties, and I want you to order food the way you want it. So many of us are like, no, I'll just eat it this way, or they send it to me this way. I'm going to pick off the croutons. I'm going to pick off the cheese. I'm going to pick off the cherries. And so all of a sudden your salad has 2 ingredients because you picked the wrong salad. But I want to teach you how to think, because you can peruse a menu and you can pick things that will feed and fuel your body so that you don't have to start stopping over. Okay? Oops, sorry about that. Very sorry. Okay, you guys don't need another plan, you need a partner. Lots of women here, if you have done the coaching program, I know you're here. So if you've done the coaching program, I want you to drop a number 1 in the chat for me. Okay. If you've done the coaching program, drop a number 1, because I know you guys are here. And I can't wait to hear if you've learned something new tonight, right? What I want you guys to know is that you already know what doesn't work. But the question now is, are you ready to do something differently? Because let's be honest, I say this all the time, if information alone were enough, and if you're in the free group, you should be dropping weight and changing your body composition and getting stronger and sleeping better and feeling better just by the resources I share in that group. Or you can Google it. You can go to YouTube. There's a lot of videos, Instagram. And now, ladies, you can go to AI. And if that worked, you guys would have solved this by now. It's not the fact that the information isn't out there. And if willpower worked, you wouldn't be here. The reality is, unlearning, you guys need to unlearn outdated rules and replace them with tools. I always say that. It's like you guys come to me and you have a diet toolbox and you have pieces and parts of all those programs and diets that you did. And some of them worked. The issue is that you never redo the whole diet again because you've only picked and chose different tools and you put them in this little box. So then when you decide that you're going to lose weight, whether you're following my plan or someone else's plan, eventually you get frustrated with that plan and you start pulling out tools out of that toolbox because your brain says, oh, that worked before. Remember when I wouldn't eat all weekend and I'll just fast all weekend? Or I'm going to go to the gym twice. I'm going to do cardio and lift at the same time. I'm going to be there for 2 hours. I'm just going to give up carbs. All those little tactics and tricks, they come up, you guys. They're in that toolbox. And you need someone to help you dump out that toolbox, throw most those tools away, and repack it with ones that are actually going to work with this body. And then it's also about rebuilding trust with our own bodies. Ladies, we don't know our bodies anymore. We're so busy and distracted and stressed that we don't even know what she wants anymore. We're so disconnected from her. So learning to slow down, listen to what she's telling you, she'll give you cues. Right now, if you're overweight, have a lot of belly fat, you're not sleeping well, your skin is really crepey and dry, you got brain fog, those are all signals that your body is telling you something is not right. And then taking consistent action. Because even when life gets messy, busy, and hectic, you have to show up for you because no one's coming to save you. And all the people that you're trying to take care of right now, eventually, if you don't take care of yourself, you will become a burden to them. They will become your Uber ride to the doctor appointments. You will require them to come over and help you get off the toilet and make your bed. Ladies, I say this with all the love in the world. I watched that happen with my mom. It is not something that's pretty and it's not fun. She felt terrible. She lost her independence. I felt terrible. I felt guilty for not wanting to help, knowing I needed to help. It is not great. So if you guys are ready to stop piecing this together alone, and if you're done starting over and over, and have Susan drop the link in the chat box to book a 30-minute strategy session with me. And in that call, ladies, there's no pressure. I just want you to know that I have multiple programs available. If that's something you really want to do, we look for ways to make something fit for you. Okay. So let me help you get some clarity, whether that's working with me or not. I'm not for everybody. I'm not pizza, right? But we can help you if you're feeling stuck and frustrated. I have no idea what that slide is. Lastly, you guys, I want to introduce you to Brandy, and I wanted to just share with you guys some stories because I think oftentimes we are so stuck and frustrated in our heads and then if you're seeing Instagram and Facebook models and all these people out there who are talking about menopause, and if you look at them, they look like they're a size 2. and they got abs. It's like, when did you ever have an issue with menopause? Sorry, it's just my side note. But so here's Brandy. Brandy's 55 and she actually owns her own business. It's a I think she took over her father's auto body business. And if you don't know that world, it is very high stress world. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it is. And she works with a bunch of men and she's a boss lady, but she's busy. And she was frustrated. She's a researcher. When she came to me, she said, I have researched everything and everywhere. I've tried keto, fasting, I've done the HIIT. I don't have time for it, but I've been doing it and nothing's working. So we just started making small shifts. I looked at her lifestyle. We looked for where and when she could make changes. Not big things, you guys. Like you don't need to drink from a fire hose. We need to just start making incremental shifts in your current routine, getting you on that right path. And so you stop spinning your wheels, you spend less time, you spend less money because you're actually eating the food that you buy, you're not eating out as much, and you're actually enjoying food. And then we also needed to work on her stress reduction. So her result, 13 pounds in 12 weeks, and she has continued her progress. She's still actually in our Evolve program, and I just didn't have an updated picture, but this is what's possible. And what I want you to see is the inflammation in the belly, you guys, that's 3 months. That's only 13 pounds. And she felt dramatically different. And her guys took this comment from her that she loves the healthier, leaner, stronger. Ladies, if you're not lifting weights and you're not starting to see your body composition change, I want you to start. It's the gift I wish I could give everybody, the crystal ball, to say, let me show you what your body can look like in 3 months if you just follow this plan, because this is what's possible. But you got to do the work. So if free advice was all you guys needed, we've talked about this. What women need is structure, coaching, feedback, and accountability, right? You do have to have the right plan. You do have to eat for your over 50 body. You do need to strength train for body composition, fat loss, and longevity and vitality. But ladies, oftentimes the money isn't the real barrier. It's really believing you're worth the investment. And if anyone here truly wants to make this happen, we always work with you to find a way. So this is about more than weight loss, ladies. I hope that I've been able to stress that to you. And I want you to walk away knowing, or at least giving you hope. You're not too old. You're not too far gone. And you're not broken. It's just you've been following the wrong rules for the season you're in. Let me help you reset that.